Hi, guys. Welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbe. We're broadcasting you live through Be Live TV and onto YouTube. So, welcome. Hi, Julie. Glad to have you in the house. It's always nice to see a friendly face when we start off the show. So, hi. Um, today's chakra session is all about assessing the transcendental heart. And that may have a big title and seem a little difficult to grasp. But as we are going through this interesting time period, our energy is evolving. And as that happens, it's really good to do some check-ins on our energy and see where we're at and see what energy is activated in our system. And so believe it or not, we have multiple layers of the heart energetically, and each one of them helps serve a purpose. But if we are trying to be in that extreme love energy of unconditional love, and we're trying to tap into that and feel more worthy, more self-love, it's really good for us to take a look at how is our heart connection working and how is it holding up? Are we able to tap into that or not? And that's what we're going to be checking into today to see how we can connect our heart through all its vibrations and all its layers so that we can have our full life experience and really access a fuller amount of joy, of love and happiness. Because, when we get stressed out in this human world, we need to be able to cut ourselves a break. And that's when we can call in the energy of our higher hearts. And my team talks about that as the transcendental heart, because it's the heart that is allows you access to transcend any energy you might be in, to get to step out of it and hold a higher, loving, compassionate perspective. So let's see who else is in the house. Hello, Carol. Hello, hello. Nice to have you here. Oh, and Ellen, this show is definitely for you right now. You're going to love all that heart energy because you've got this big squishy one. I love it. And Rachel, hi. Nice. I'm glad to have you here too. And Taylor. Hi, Taylor. Nice to have you. That's exciting to see your name all together. So I'm glad to have you in the house. So first of all, let's just kind of talk about what heart energy we hold in our body. Lots of people think it's just, your heart, or it's just your heart chakra. But the reality is that we have multiple layers and multiple hearts that we connect to. And each one of them can have its own obstacles. So if you're having a struggle with certain things, it lets you know which heart is having the most difficulty. So let's start with our basic heart chakra. That is our place where we are meant to access love and compassion and joy and all of that. And when that is nice and healthy, we feel at ease with ourselves, we feel at ease with people around us, and we really can feel all of our feelings without judging them. So we're really in that space of just kind of loving life, loving people, kind of happy-go-lucky. But more often than not, we run into stress, we run into life, and we suffer things like disappointments, or we have sadness over something that we've lost. And then we can go into the big one, we can go into the grief stages, and that really impacts into the depths of our heart chakra. So if you are experiencing deep grief, or you've been around people who've had a lot of grief, they're really connected to the heart chakra. That green one that we see in the pictures of the chakras, we're really in the depths of the green. And when you are a seer in terms of energy healing, you'd actually see the heart being really dark, dark green, because there's dark energy that, sadness and grief and things like that, that is bringing the vibration of the heart down, down in fear, down in doubt, down in, disbelief of any kind, like this feeling of stuckness that you can't get out of the energy, or you can't get out of the situation. You might have that sense of hopelessness. Those are all when that poor heart chakra, that green one, is just having a tough time. And so when we're in that space, it is fantastic to feel the feelings, but the feelings should move through your body rapidly. So if you experience a disappointment, you should have the disappointment, and within, less than an hour or so, it's gone. Really, it should be a few minutes, but my team is like, we'll cut you a break, and for about an hour, you can feel disappointed. But if you're still like really struggling with it, then it means you are tapped into really old disappointment. And when we tap into that old energy, like disappointment from childhood, or sadness or grief from childhood, when we tap into that, just imagine that we're tapping into the heart of our inner child. And most of you been around when I've talked about the inner child, how the inner child really runs the show when it's nervous, it's scared, it's fearful, it's anxious about the future. When things seem uncertain, it can get a little bit like Chicken Little, the sky's falling. I see mine often as Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. Very nervous and shaky. But it goes out there and does it anyways. But it can have that kind of shaky feeling. And when you really feel that extreme letdown, and you feel that overwhelming disappointment, that is when you've tapped into feelings that the inner child has held onto for you for a long time. And so that combination of how the inner child's heart feels and how your heart chakra feels, that's when the two combine, and the energy can get darker. It can go from a bright green to a more deep, like pine green. And when we're in that place, it's, if we can get out of our head for a few seconds, we can assess whether or not our higher heart, our transcendental heart, could actually help us out. And think of that as like a reserve backup energy. I'm seeing like a generator for your house. Like, you don't have to use it all the time, but it's like when the lights are flickering, you want that thing to kick in. And because we're often really disconnected from our higher self, we forget that we can call that. But we have to ask. It's kind of like if you had a generator, you actually had to flip the switch to make it turn on, rather than it comes on automatically. So for many people, we've got to flip that switch first. When you work with it a lot, it'll kick in automatically, which is really cool. So hi, Martina, glad to have you. I'm not sure where you came in that, but I hope you're following along. I know you came in right when you were supposed to, so that's cool. But that higher heart, that transcendental heart, that is able to transcend the circumstances that you're in and put you into a higher vibration. So it pulls you out of the wallowing in your grief, and it allows you to observe your grief without getting sucked into all of that feeling all over again. It keeps you from being re-traumatized by any grieving or sadness or disappointment you might have. Even you might be holding shame or blame in the heart, where you feel like something was your fault a long time ago, and if something similar happens, your inner child might think, oh no, I did it again, I did something wrong. But remember, that's from a child's perspective, because a child only understands right or wrong, and they don't understand that it's not all their fault, because the world isn't all about them. It could definitely be somebody else. And that's when, as spiritual beings, it is helpful to you're calling on a higher power, basically, to help you maneuver. Now, the higher heart that is in our higher self carries a really beautiful pink color, almost a fuchsia cherry pink color. And there are people who are able to call that heart in on a regular basis. They use it on a regular basis. They connect their heart energy with the higher heart. And if you are somebody who is in service to others, like a counselor, a healer, a nurse, somebody who their job is to be compassionate for others. And those two hearts can basically activate in such a way where they're working together. So if you imagine a yin yang, where we would normally see like a black and a white, within the heart space, if you have called in and accessed your higher heart, and it's helping support your regular heart chakra, then the green and the pink swirl together, very much like the yin yang, and they fit together like almost like a puzzle piece. And what's really sweet about that is when that happens, then that yin yang surrounds the heart of the inner child, so that the child feels centered and grounded and filled with love and compassion. Martina, she says, I'm feeling like you're talking directly to me. I'm sure I am. For those of you who know that I channel when I'm teaching, I channel the Ancient One. Actually, I'm more like the translator for the Ancient One. And I knew today's topic was going to be big for a number of people. I didn't even remember what the topic was, actually, because sometimes it's better for me not to know, or I think too much about it. Ellen says, oh, wow, this is so timely for me. Thanks, Doc. I need the pink. Yeah, we all need the pink, right? I mean, that's part of the remembering to bring that in, and ask for it to be there. And we can do that on a regular basis. And so can you imagine, you've got, your little child heart is in there, and it's being loved and held by your physical being and that heart. And then it's in that heart chakra. And then it's also coming from your higher self, and it's wrapping around. So you can imagine how those three layers can make a huge difference, because then the child is no longer fearful. And when the child is no longer fearful, they relax. And when they relax, they stop worrying, and they stop feeling anxious. And then so do you. Because the child really runs all of our basic survival functions. And so the child just needs to feel safe. And once the child feels safe, they become super magical. And that's where, miracles happen. That's where manifestation happens from. It's when we calm that child down and let them feel loved. And isn't that what heals so much of the planet, is when we're able to just share love and compassion for each other. We don't have to physically experience someone else's pain to have huge amounts of empathy. And when our higher self chakra, the Transcendental Heart, has that loving, intense caring for someone else, you radiate it out. So other people can feel your authenticity of your compassion, and it soothes their child. Even if they haven't called in their higher self, they can feel the soothingness of the energy, and often their higher self will just come in and give them a big hug. So Martina is saying, you've said so many things that even myself have said. Yin yang puzzle pieces, it all works together. Yes. One of my goals with my spiritual team is, there's so much esoteric knowledge that's out there and we have access to. And I could make it sound extremely complicated and use the biggest words, but I have been really clear with my team that I wanted to translate to make things simpler, to be able to use words in a way that people could hear it and start to understand it in a way that then they are able to be proactive in healing it for themselves. And it's not about how much I know, right? Because that would be a lot. But it's about making some knowledge that others have made seem so complicated, and really breaking it down, kind of like chakras for dummies, your energy system for dummies, but we're not even dummies, right? It's just that we have to be able to hear it at the frequency we're at. So thank you, Martina. It does put the pieces together. Like when I see somebody's heart chakra, I know instantly if they do service work, because the green and the pink will be swirling together. And they might not even know it. I've worked on some people who are in the clergy, and it doesn't occur to them that it's any different. But because they're so much in that sharing love and compassion with others, they don't turn it off, right? They do it 24/7. It's their calling. And lots of times when we're in the alignment with our calling, then that energy shows up. That higher self heart is fully supporting us as we're doing our personal mission. And sometimes we just need to find a way to access that higher heart chakra to help us realign when we feel like we've gotten stuck or we've gotten lost. And so that's one of those things. So when we are, want to be in our scientific mode, we want to assess how well is our heart chakra working and which ones are we having access to. If we're having a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, then we're probably very much tied into our inner child's heart, and all the feeling and reliving in certain ways all the woundings that our child went through. as part of their soul lesson. And sometimes too, we have that difficulty where we absorb somebody else's feelings. So I'm a big one for this. And I think a lot of empaths are. It's that we so identify with somebody else's pain that we try to take it for them. And then we hold on to it, and we're like, when we even think of the other person's pain, we become traumatized by their pain because it's such a horrible thing, or a horrific experience that they went through, and we feel victimized just from hearing what they went through. So Rob is saying, I'm a dummy. This is for me. Yeah, well, sometimes aren't we all the dummies sometimes? I think that's part of the magic of being here, because we never know it all, and there's no way to know it all, even though some of us might try. But I keep seeing the Fool card in the tarot deck. But the Fool isn't foolish. The Fool is very much about being carefree and ready to step out and do things for the first time on a brand new journey without a care in the world. And most of the time, because our inner child is in charge, we walk on eggshells, or we tiptoe, where we would love to stand strong in our being and just walk with purpose, walk our life with purpose. And that is when we are aligned with that transcendental heart. And because we are going through a spiritual evolution right now, as we are moving our planet, she's moving on up, and we're along for the ride. And as that's happening, our heart chakra is tapping into more vibrations than it used to. So what that means is the poor inner child is sensing brand new vibrations. And whenever that child feels a new vibration, they may go into caution mode, even if it's a good thing, because the child may be very much afraid of any kind of change. And once it starts feeling that, it can be a set of dominoes. It can be like fear, and then anxiety and worry, and then, oh no, did I do something wrong? And then the shame comes in of all the times you think you did things wrong in the past. And then you experience something that creates sadness for you, and you can't shake it. And it can be subtle. You may not even feel the changes happening, where you're going down the rabbit hole, and your beautiful heart is getting darker and darker. Not in a like bad, malevolent way. It's just its color is getting less bright. It's like the window's dirty and it needs to be cleaned. Actually, I'm seeing it as glasses. So those of you guys who have glasses, even sunglasses, when there's stuff on it, you can't see as well. And you got to stop and you got to clean it up so it's as clear as it can be. And that's the same thing for our chakras. And that's part of these chakra sessions, is that we clean up your chakras every week. If you watch us every week, we're here cleaning you up and helping remind you how to do that for yourself. So one of the ways that you can call in your higher self and your transcendental heart is to simply ask. I know that sounds extremely simple, but it's like, hey, higher self, please help me to connect to my heart in all its vibrations and all of its levels. Thank you. And it sometimes just happens and you have a sense of it. Or you just trust that it happens, because trust is a big thing too, right? And another thing is that you can envision in your meditation your heart space, and you can see the bright green, and you can welcome in the transcendental heart, that high heart, and envision that fuchsia pink coming in. And when we do our healing meditation in a little bit, we will do just that. We're going to do actually what's called a heart spiral. And I haven't done this meditation in a while, but I absolutely love it. So we are going to not only connect to our transcendental heart of our higher self, but then we're going to connect each of our chakras to it, not just the heart. We're going to fill each chakra with that higher vibration of love and compassion. And when we're done, just notice where we are, and that is an energy that we can hold more regularly. And that excites me too, because then again, the show is here. It can become your personal encyclopedia for healing. That's what Chakra Sessions is all about. It's if you have something going on in your life, you go to our channel, Trinity Mystical Energy on YouTube, and then you look up the title of what's going on for you. Oh, I'm having a lot of anxiety. I wonder if there's a session on anxiety. Oh, there it is. And then you can tap back into the meditation. Even if you don't want to listen to the whole show again, you can fast forward and just do the meditation as many times as you need it. And that's part of my role of being in service. It's putting all this healing out there for people to just access when they need it. Because we need a support team to get through this life, this journey. And this allows me to be part of your support team without even having to see me in person. You can just come on the show or watch us in the recordings. So when you're experiencing the three hearts, when you're experiencing that inner child, when you're experiencing your heart chakra, you're experiencing your higher self, you may sense that your actual physical heart may feel bigger, may feel fuller. You may sense heat that goes across all of your rib cage and a much bigger area. And it's like you're one of those Care Bears sending out a heart beam of love, but you're also sending it inwards. And one of the things to understand too is that our physical heart is created in an interesting way. I had a really interesting revelation. Well, the ancient one, was like, hello, here's another piece of information you need to remember, is that our heart holds all the sacred energy that we need, our physical heart. And we know that intuitively because that is the only part of us that really runs the show of how we live, right? Because when it stops beating, our physical being stops moving, stops being. Our spirit moves on. But this temple that we live in, it is controlled by how well that heart works. And what's so interesting was that in the midst of the heart energy, so if you can imagine you're standing in the middle of your heart, you're standing in there and there's the 4 chambers. That match the 4 directions. Isn't that interesting? That each of the chambers has the 4 directions for us to call in. So we actually, when we call in those 4 directions, we are activating the sacred container of our heart. And when we call in the directions above and below, we're accessing those main arteries that allow the blood to flow. The divine masculine, the divine feminine flow as above and so below in our heart. It's showing us that that is who we are. That divine being is our, all of the directions and all of the energy of the divine. It's in our heart, and it's in our physical heart. Like, our heart is created to look like that. And that is no coincidence. And even though I could feel that experience and knew it, it hadn't really occurred to me how accurate that was. So just take that in if you'd like, because that was a big aha for me. So understanding that our sacredness really is in our physical body, and inside the physical body is where we would begin to look for our sacredness, and for our child's heart, and for our own heart chakra, and for the higher self's heart chakra. And that's where we connect it, by going deeper and deeper into our physical heart and all the layers of our energetic hearts in that one spot. And what's so sweet about that is that a lot of people think of reaching for their higher self above their head. So they're trying to reach for something way outside of their body. But the reality is, it's when we are accessing that part in the heart, it's inner. You're going in more chambers to get to it, which is, I think, is really cool. It kind of was mind blowing for me anyways, this week. So when we're experiencing emotional upheaval, that lingers, and we are in a place where it would do us a lot of good to be able to love ourselves more fully, or release the way we negatively talk to ourselves, or put ourselves down, or feel unworthy. That's when we really want to remember how to call that higher chakra, that higher self in. And we can assess how much it's in by when meditating and sensing those colors. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist. That's actually what Ed Langen calls me, as a rocket scientist, because I could have been. But I applied it, instead of to rockets, I applied my rocket science knowledge to our physical body in the energetic phases. You definitely can just imagine it. And when you imagine it, it'll be there. And how cool is that? And all you have to do is trust. You don't have to see it. You don't have to know it. Sometimes it's great to have those things happen, but that is where our faith comes in. We just unwaveringly try to believe, and yeah, we're human. So believing at times may be difficult. And that's when you phone a friend. That's when you phone a healer. That's when you go back in the archives of chakra sessions and look for the thing that's going to help you. Because you have all the tools you need to heal yourself. Just sometimes we need to remember how. And so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do our meditation now. We're going to do the heart spiral meditation. And I just want to, I'm trying to get my team to translate this a little bit easier. So as we're doing this meditation, do your best to either see it or feel it, and let your imagination help out. Don't second guess your imagination. Just allow it to see what you're meant to see, and understand that sometimes if I'm speaking about colors, you may see a different color, and that does not mean you're wrong. It just means that's the color for you. Sometimes when this meditation happens, a particular archangel might appear, and they might help you out. So sometimes their color can get infused just to give you a little extra support. So you might see a couple different shades of pink, you might see blue, you might see purple, you might see golden light or white light. It's not always the pink or the green. It's going to be what it needs to be. And just know that sometimes we need a different color to balance out what's in a state of imbalance inside of us. So if something is, say, your self-worth, for instance, is impacting your sense of joy, compassion, and love, you might sense the yellow color coming through, because it's like you need to brighten your inner sun with that bright, bright yellow. And so release any judgment about how your experience is, and do your best to just allow. So, all right, Martina, I'm glad you needed to hear this. I'm sure I did too. I know there are a couple other people present who did. So, all right. So I invite you to get yourself kind of comfortable. You want your arms and your legs uncrossed. This is a very strong healing. So crossed arms or legs can block the energy and give you a little power surge, which is like having an extreme hot flash, which may not be comfortable. So if you don't want that experience, I would recommend arms and legs uncrossed. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths. That was a lot of information, and I'm proud of you for sticking through it. So breathe in and blow out. So breathe in calm and clarity. Breathe out grounding and center. There you go. One more breath in and out. And I'm just going to invite your muscles to relax. Let's start with our feet and our ankles, our calves, our knees, our thighs, and our hamstrings. Feeling the tension release and relax. Feeling our hips and our lower abdomen release and relax. Feeling our upper abdomen, our upper back, our lungs, even our heart. Release and relax. Allowing our arms, our hands, our forearms, our biceps and triceps, our shoulders. Release and relax. Our neck, our base of our skull, all around the top of our head. Release and relax. Our face, our forehead, our eyes, our cheeks, our jaw. Release and relax. We ask the divine to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light, creating a sacred container for this healing work, and to ground each of our chakras into the earth plane, so that we can feel connected, relaxed, and comfortable. And we set the intention that this healing meditation will be for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. We invite in our spiritual team, all our angels and guides, ancestors, animals, mystical creatures, the star beings, all divine of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibration available to us in this moment. And we begin by accessing our heart, feeling the energy present, welcoming in the green healing light. And as it enters our heart and our physical heart, we also invite it to fill the heart of our inner child, so that they may feel safe, secure, and grounded in their own personal magic. And we welcome in the heart of our higher self. Feel that beautiful pink energy coming to us and through us. Beginning to fill the heart. Sensing the yin yang of the green and the pink. And imagining a figure eight between our higher heart and our heart chakra. Creating that infinity of love and light in their sacred connection. Then creating a figure eight between our combined hearts and our physical heart. So our physical heart can beat in the rhythm of our soul and our soul's journey. And allowing space for any emotions that want to release so that this may happen for you. Just allowing those to be present. And now creating a figure eight of infinite love and infinite light to connect the heart of the inner child with all of the other hearts. Welcoming that energy as it lightens and brightens and expands through our chest, through our aura, and activating its own personal Merkaba ascension vehicle so that we can access that higher and fuller vibration more consistently in our lives. Now imagine the pink energy coming from the heart, making a spiral downward to connect to the third chakra below in the solar plexus. Filling our self-worth, self-esteem with love and compassion, releasing the frustration, anger, fear, worry, or anxiety. and releasing any doubt about your worthiness to receive all of this beautiful love. And then inviting the energy to continue its spiral, going from the third chakra up to the throat with that beautiful pink color. And as it moves its way up, it's allowing space for your heart to speak its truth, for your heart's creations to be birthed, to give strength to your voice and your communication, even your communication with your spiritual team. Releasing any old words that have gone unspoken, any pain in the neck to release, slide off of you. Now inviting the spiral to go from the throat down to the second chakra, continuing a beautiful pink spiral as it travels from the heart to the third chakra in the belly, up to the throat, and down once more to the second chakra below the belly. Sending love and compassion to any of your stuck relationship energy, helping to release any addictions that you've experienced, whether personally or by those around you, filling with compassion and love for any difficult experiences you've had with yourself, with others, filling with love and compassion for all of your emotions, making space for all of your creativity to have fuel to be developed. And then inviting the spiral to continue up to the third eye in your forehead, filling all your thoughts and ideas with divine love and support. Quieting any difficult thoughts or beliefs that you've experienced. Cleansing your perception so that you can see life more clearly, making room for your clear seeing and your clear knowing. with divine knowledge when needed. And then inviting the spiral to move from your third eye down to your root chakra below your tailbone. Filling your home, your work, your job, your family with the love and compassion of infinite love and infinite light. And in this place, allowing you to feel centered and grounded, even more deeply connected, releasing any fear, doubt, or worry that may still be lingering here. And asking the spiral to move from the root chakra back up to the crown. Releasing any feelings of loneliness, disconnect, worthiness, and filling in so our crown can open all of its petals to the best of its ability. And then asking the energy to go from the crown down through the third eye, through the throat, and anchoring once more in the heart. So that the spiral may continue glowing. Inviting in more divine energy to shower us in calm and quiet, peace and serenity, allowing the heart to expand into all the vibrations of joy that we are able to connect to. And just bringing your attention back to your heart. Notice the difference from when we started to this moment. not just in your heart, but your whole being. And take a moment of gratitude to thank your spiritual team for guiding you here this day, to be part of this community that is here to love and support each other by supporting ourselves. Now we're gently going to reconnect with our physical body. So noticing our feet, our calves, our knees, our thighs, reconnecting, re-experiencing while staying fully grounded, experiencing our hips, our lower abdomen, our lower back, our upper abdomen, our middle back, also grounded and connected. Experiencing our ribs, our heart, our upper back, our shoulders, our arms, our hands, fully present in our physical form, our throat, our neck, behind our skull, our jaw, our eyes, our forehead, and the top of our head. And you can gently begin to open your eyes, stretch, reconnect, rub your hands together, rub your feet. Sorry, I ran a tiny bit over, but that's okay, I think. It's a big, powerful healing. So I hope you enjoyed that. You can probably sense how the high heart can help you center everything simply by allowing yourself to receive love. And if you really want to access and call in any of your heart energy, feel free to go to my website at trinitymysticalenergy.com. And if you click on Mystical Boutique, there is an oil for your heart chakra, the fourth chakra, but there's also an oil for the Transcendental Heart. And what that oil does is it allows you to remember how to connect to your higher heart and to really allow the high heart to assess how the other hearts are doing. So if you want to help to remember how to bring yourself into a place of love and compassion, those are the oils for you. And if you've been having trouble with grief in particular, there is a grief blend that helps you experience the release of the grief. It doesn't take your grief away, but it takes away the charge so that it doesn't have to overwhelm you. And sometimes that's a great thing. And you're welcome, Julie. I'm glad you enjoyed the meditation. It's one of my favorites. It's actually healing as well. It can be done hands-on, which is sometimes a lovely way to help somebody really experience being in love with being in their own body. And yeah, it's a nice one. I like it. So there you have it. There's chakra sessions for this evening. Thanks for sticking it out with me. And we will be back here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then you know whenever we're on. And pretty soon we're going to be adding in some wonderful full moon meditations and things like that, like bonus broadcasts. And for those of you who love soul connections, it'll be coming back once a month. And Rob and I are still figuring that out, but it feels like it might even come in June. So there you have it. We'll be bringing that back where we do a big healing. And then I do your card reading for the month. How's that? See what energy is in store for you. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here and helping me with my mission of healing the healers, because we're all here to heal the planet. And by doing that, we heal ourselves, so that we can be in a place where we can share our love and our joy, and remind each other how to be magical. Mwah. See you next time. Bye, guys.